Woody Nerdigans? This is the one and only Pecker Girl 89. Today's Manga Nerdigan live reaction video is going to be for Hitman by Koji, chapters 51 and 52. And because this is my first live reaction for this series, I'm going to give you my thoughts on the manga so far and then get into chapter 51's live reaction. So basically, I started reading this manga because I actually saw Koji's work on Twitter. Because for those of you that don't follow me on Twitter, basically I follow as many of the Japanese manga magazines on Twitter, as well as a lot of the mangaka that I cover. I follow them on Twitter, and they actually retweet other mangaka. So that's how, and one of them I can't remember who it was, but one of them retweeted Koji's work, and I fell in love with it, so I started reading Hitman because of it. So basically this manga is about how a manga and, how manga and how manga magazines, in this case Weekly Shonen magazine is made for, and this is for Kodansha, and it's really, really fascinating. I really love it. And I really love Kenzaki's. Kenzaki's a lot like me. I'm really passionate about manga, and Kenzaki and I can't draw for shit, so I relate to Kenzaki a lot in this regard. But the arc that, and I really feel for Tsukasa, especially right now. This arc is really, really emotional because and we also, in Tsukasa's case, we found out that her father, and the reason why she's doing manga is to prove that she's better than her father, who is a very famous mangaka who writes the best manga, like the manga equivalent of One Piece, so to speak. And basically what she's doing right now is, what we're doing right now in this arc is we're developing we're creating a manga about this group, and one of their band members died. And because Tsubasa's father wrote a manga chapter based on her mother's death. She don't want to do it. She don't want to sink to that level. But chapter 51, we're going to hopefully get to the bottom of this. So let's get to chapter 51 first and see what's in store for us. What's the big deal? There's already a ton of manga where people die. They die in accidents, from illnesses, get murdered by serial killers, attacked by monsters. And this is very, very true. And chapter 51 is titled The First and Last. I'm not the only one. It's the same with all those other writers, too. They had the same thing in mind when they wrote those scenes. And what was it they had in mind? It'll be interesting. That's all there is to it. Yeah, I already know that. That's what I want to know is what drove you to draw that right after your wife passed away. Thanks for stopping by, but it seems time's already up. Wait a second, we better get going. Don't want to interfere while the author's doing revisions. I still haven't asked him the most important stuff. Let me go. If you want to know, we'll tell you. Tsubasa-chan wants to know too, right? This is your chance. Can you call her? I'm not sure, but I'll give her a ring. Sorry to call you out so late. I hope you weren't already asleep. No, it's fine. I should apologize. I didn't thank you properly for your help the other day, because her father's assistants helped her as much as they could with getting her manga ready. It's fine, and really, if anything, we should apologize for leaving before the job was done. So, what exactly did you have to say about Katsuragi-sensei and my mother? Kenzaki here actually showed up to our studio. He was ranting and demanding to know what he was feeling when he wrote about his wife's death. I was not ranting. Granted, we don't know his true feelings, but we can at least tell you what we know about that couple and about his wife's thoughts. Mom's thoughts? You know, I don't think Kenzaki knows this, but Tsubasa-chan's mom was Katsuragi-san's first editor! What? Huh? His main editor is former editor-in-chief Yamashiro, but back then Yamashiro was in his third year as a copy editor, and Tsubasa-chan's mom was the lead editor. Did you know? Yes. You gotta tell me these things! You could probably imagine the gist, but in those days, Katsuragi-san was, well, he was a punk with a blonde pompadour! The type of wacko who knocks someone out just for looking at it funny! She was the one who could tell him straight out when something he wrote was boring. I've heard she even would reprimand him and say things Yamashiro. I guess Katsuragi-san had never met a woman quite like her before. And before he had realized that he was falling for her, then, I don't think Katsuragi probably met a woman who could handle his craziness. Then Katsuragi just went for it full force, and the two just ended up dating, I guess. No way that's true. No lie. Yeah, we heard this right from Yamashiro. But an author and an editor dating? Is that even allowed? Well, that might be why she ended up resigning. After that, they got married and had Tsubasa-chan. She was a real beauty and devoted, too. Yeah, she even looked out for us assistants. Aww! And when Katsuragi-san got canned, she went and looked for a part-time job. Wow, she must have really loved him. Yeah, that's exactly why we couldn't allow it. Katsuragi-san decided he was going to use his wife's illness for story material. I'm planning on her dying in the end. He actually said that. See? He's exactly the kind of person I said he was. Naturally, we got heated and said we weren't going to help. Fine, then you're on fire. Get the hell out of here. It was crazy how pissed off he was. He got this scary look on his face. Yeah, we decided to pack up and leave. We were saying our goodbyes to his wife at the hospital when, please don't leave him alone. But he wants to exploit you for story material. It's awful. We don't want to be a part of that at all. I'm so sorry. This is all my fault. He asked me something before, just once. What is your idea of happiness? For me, happiness is seeing you smile. In those moments, nothing brings me greater joy. Well then, you know what would make me smile? My manga finally beating out all others and becoming #1. Then what did she say? Well then, please make it happen. That would be my idea of happiness. So Katsuragi-san did what Katsuragi-san does best. He dived into his work thinking of her. At least that's what we imagine he did. But even so. Oh right, I just remembered something. She had something she wanted us to tell you, huh? If the day ever comes where Tsubasa appears in front of you as an author, I want you to tell her one thing for me. Draw what you think is interesting. That's my first and last piece of advice as an editor. I'm gonna try not to cry. You have to think that oh gosh. She was fine with Katsuragi using her death to help his manga. I think she was fine with it because it would make it because if it was to help him fulfill his dream, I think she was fine with it. And like part of me thinks she would have been okay with it because it would have kept her memory. It keeps her memory alive, and it shows how much he cares about her. Like I don't know how he wrote it in the story, but based on what Kanzaki said, that storyline made him cry a lot. So based on what Kanzaki told me, based on what Kanzaki said, you gotta imagine that how he wrote it thinking of his wife in mind, and based on what we found out that how much his wife he loved his wife, it must have been beautiful. You can only imagine it. I finally get it why Katsuragi was able to draw what he did, huh? He was just being earnest, make an interesting manga. He wanted to do that, so he didn't run. He faced it head on. He took someone's death and put it to paper. That's true. That's another... Kanzaki makes a very good point. He didn't want to... Because something that's really true, and I could have done this as well, is when Brian died, I could have just hid from and not recorded content. I could have just hid and just not done shit. But you know what? I faced it. I was able to face you guys and still be able to record content. even though, I was dealing with Brian's death. And in the short and the long run, it's actually been good for me. But and reason why I'm bringing that up is what Kenzaki says right here. Katsuragi could have done the same freaking thing. He could have hid from it. He could have ran away from the fact that the love of his life, the mother of his daughter, died. He could have hid from it. But instead of hiding from it, he faced it head on. Like, this was probably therapy for him, that he's facing it head on instead of hiding from it. So I gotta give Katsuragi, like, props for that. I want to ask you one more time, not as a person, but as an editor to his author, What? Fuka Akatsuki's death, is it interesting? It really is. It's interesting. Well, then, if you put everything you've got into drawing it, it'll be all right. Even if the only person looking forward to it is me. Don't run. Face forward. What lies before you is interesting. I gotta say, Koji, this chapter, especially, like, what Koji said in regards to facing death and facing, like, the hardship is so true, and I can relate to it. I'm really glad I started covering this manga with chapter 51. I'm really glad I did, because that is something that I've had to face. So thank you so much, Koji. Thank you. All right, so now we're at chapter 52, which is titled An Undrawable Situation. We've already been over this. I asked you to not include Fuka in the manga, remember? But I was talking with Takanashi before, and in the end we realized that we have to include her. That's easy for you to say. I think her existence was an indispensable part of your history as a band. I don't just want to draw the good times. Please let me draw your anguish and conflict as well. And I agree. You can't just cut out like someone who's important just because she died. You can't do that. I don't plan on drawing anything inappropriate. Please, somehow let me do this. Takanashi-sensei, your works are truly amazing. I know you're not the type of writer who'd half-ass her work, but even so, I won't allow it. Please don't draw it. Well, that was a hard no. Yeah, seems like there's nothing we can do. I guess we were mistaken after all, huh? I mean, forcing someone to unearth a past they don't want to, no matter how interesting it is, I just feel like it is tyrannical. Depends. I think it depends on the situation itself. It really does. That about sums it up. We're completely in the wrong on this, but still, Akatsuki Fuka was alive. She existed. We can't just pretend she didn't. And that's where I agree with Kenzaki. Something had to have happened with how Fuka died that they're hiding. Something. And besides, when I say interesting, I don't mean fun. I mean something that moves the heart. Exactly. That's why I totally understand. Again, with going back to Tsubasa's mother's death, it totally makes sense for it to be drawn to paper like that. That's exactly why I think you should do it, because you understand Haruna-san's feelings. Yeah, and man, Haruna-san's expression, it feels like he had some other reason, but he really made his refusal clear, so it'll be fine. Let's try approaching this from another angle. Where are we going? A place called Amai Cafe. We're going to meet someone there. Meet? Who? If the friends say no, then we'll just have to rely on the parents. That's very smart, actually. So we got, Akatsuki's parents. So we got Akatsuki Yamoto, age 38, world track and field silver medalist and sports commentator, and Akatsuki Suzuka, age 38, inter-high school running high jump third place and housewife. Sorry for calling you out here. I called your office to see if you were busy, but right now we're smack dab in the middle of the Olympics. If it was tomorrow, I wouldn't be here. I see. Well, when you said it was about Fuka, we figured there was no way we couldn't come. Yep. You mentioned you wanted to put her in a manga as her parents. That makes us very happy. We want people to know that Fuka existed in this world. She was our precious daughter, after all. Well, then please, if you could just say that to Haruna-san. No. I'm sorry, but we don't want you to include her either. Why not? Takanashi's a newbie, but her work is solid. She would absolutely never make light of Fuka-san or any... I'm sorry, please calm down. You know we've been reading your magazine for a long time. We thought your one-shot was excellent, but this has nothing to do with your abilities as an author. Huh? If possible, I'd appreciate it if this part didn't leave the room. The traffic accident that took Fuka's life, one of the current members, AOI, saw her father caused it. What? It can't be. Now, of course, we don't hold it against her. We're cheering for her. But if you include the accident, people might find out. And if she suffered because someone said something cruel, that's a punishment we never want for her. Oh, no. Oh, man. See, I told you some shit went down. As Fuka's parents, we don't want to see another child face those glares. Your offer has made us really happy. We want you to know that. I knew it. I can't draw this. There's no way we can cause someone that kind of misery. Not just so we can please our own ego, but still, if there was some way. What, you don't think it's interesting? What, you don't think it's interesting? You don't like my story? I want to draw it. Weren't you just thinking that? AOI-san, why are you here? Sorry, I just happened to overhear what you were talking about. If you two happen to be thinking about my feelings, please don't mind me at all. My dad, he also feels that way. Yay! Now, hold on a second. I know it's absurd to say this after asking already, but there's no way we could do it. We can't possibly make a manga that would cause you... Takanashi-sensei, would you draw something that would bring misery on someone? Huh? I never draw something like that. Hey, then please do it. Wait, AOI-san, why are you doing this? It's just like Kenzaki-san said. Akatsuki Fuka existed. We can't pretend she didn't. And me, I think so. I want everyone to know that once our band had an incredible vocalist, and I want them to know I'm only here because she was here. And to make that happen, I'll tell you everything I know. So draw the manga that only you can, Takanashi-sensei, and convince Haruna Yu to agree. Of course, that's the plan. Yeah! Place these feelings on the storyboard. Surely then you will move someone's heart. I gotta say, Koji, these two chapters are so beautiful, and it's so true. It's so true. People need to understand that. Just because that there's a tragedy, that there's some circumstances behind the situation that could hurt other people, that you can't just pretend that it didn't existed. You can't do that. And I really find what Koji is doing with this arc, and especially these two chapters in particular, is extremely powerful, and I really appreciate Koji doing this. Thank you. As someone who has lost, especially since not just my boyfriend that passed away from heroin overdose. A few months, for those of you that don't know, a few months later, one of my friends passed away from heroin overdose as well. So it's not. Just having like Koji acknowledge that you can like with death you can't just pretend, like basically what Koji's going for with this arc is basically because someone died. You can't pretend that they didn't exist. You can't run away from it. You just can't do that. You have to face it. You have to face it and move forward. I really appreciate the underlying message that Koji is going for. I really appreciate it as someone that has been grieving for the past 6 months. I really appreciate it because people have been telling me I just need to move on. Fuck it, you just need to move on. I really, again, as someone that has been grieving and that has been getting attacked by people, like by Brian's mother and just in general, I really appreciate. Sorry. I really appreciate having series like this. I think this is the second series that has really given me this kind of hope, and this kind of relatability, and it really makes me appreciate it. Koji, I really appreciate your writing right now. I really do. And thank you so much. I'm trying not to cry. Anyway, damn it. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, what you guys thought of these chapters, what you guys think of this arc, and if you as a person, if you've gone through something similar to what these characters are going through, whether it's with Takanashi and her mother, or you can even say her father losing her partner like this, because I can relate to that, or losing a friend and having to go through this through the grieving process. Like, can you relate to this? And seeing how brave they're being, just not like hiding from it and just going forward with it and facing it head on. It's just amazing. I really appreciate what Koji's doing. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Nerdigans Inc. If you love what I'm doing and want to help keep this channel alive so I can keep bringing you more Hitman content, there's a few ways you could do that. You can donate to my GoFundMe, Cash App, PayPal, Patreon, GoFundMe, purchase something off my Amazon wish list. All that's in the description box below. Also, make sure you follow me on Twitter, Twitch, Facebook, friend me on PlayStation Network. That's in the description box below as well. Till next time, Nerdigans, I'll be seeing you later. Bye.